Okay, here we go. So to make a Punnett Square, so first you write the parents. This is the most important step. If you don't write down your parents, you're going to do it wrong. So I'm going to go back to the top of my paper where I had the F1 generation of a tall and a short. The tall parent, its parents were tall. So it was actually homozygous tall. It got one tall from the mom and the other tall from the dad. And the short is always going to be homozygous short. But remember, we're using the letter T. This is little t, and I like to go like this and make my little t's have a tail. That's just what I like to do. Because we use the first letter of the dominant trait to represent both. So, big T times little t. I always start a Punnett Square by writing down my parents. And you'll get the parents from whatever the problem is, and I'll show you more about that later. Step number 2, draw a square. And step number 3 follows right behind that, make a window. So I'm going to draw my square, but I'm going to leave some space. See how I left a space between these two? I absolutely, if you need to stop the video, stop and start right here and write this down, okay? You should be writing these notes down from this point on. Write these notes down, write these notes down, write these notes down, write these notes down, okay? Because you're going to want to refer back to them and you aren't going to want to watch the video every single time. So draw a square, make a window, and leave some space at the top and leave some space on the left side. So I am going to draw a square. I'm going to make it pretty big so you can see what I'm doing. Is it in the frame? I'm a terrible cinematographer, I'm sorry. Okay, it is. There we go. Boom. All right. Don't worry if it lines up, it's fine. Number 4, first parent on top. 1 letter per column. What? This is the first parent. It doesn't matter if it's the mom or the dad. One time we used to say, oh, put the mom on the top and the dad on the side. Doesn't matter. Put 1 parent, first parent, the first one I wrote down, the first one I read about in the problem, okay? I'm going to put that parent on the top. And you'll notice that there's 2 columns, 1, 2. And I'm going to write the first parent on this top. 1 letter, because there's 2, per column. Something that I see people do that I don't want you to do, and I'll write it up here because I don't want to ever look at it again, is if this is your Punnett Square, they write this. Ah! You have now given this organism double the DNA it's supposed to have. Remember we said that's bad. It causes genetic disorders if you have too much DNA. So don't do that. Ah! 1, it's right here in the directions. 1 letter per column. Then, number 5, second parent. On the left. On the left. 1 letter per row. So here on the left, I have 2 rows. Here's 1 row. Here's the second row. 1, 2. I'm going to write the second parent down here. Little t, little t. Big T, little t, little t. Now, whatever your parents are, that's what you write. So we'll practice later. You can see what I'm talking about. All right. Oop. Number 6, we're almost done. Distribute. Usually I say like the game Battleship, but not as many people have been playing the game Battleship. it works on rows and columns. So this row, or I'm sorry, this column and this row meet right here in this spot. This column and this row, they meet right here. So this big T and this little t are together in this square. Big T, little t. Then this one, this row, or this column, and this row, still on the top here, meet together here. Big T, little t, big T, little t. You go there. Then this one and this one go here. Big T, little t. This one and this one go there. Big T, little t. Notice how I always wrote the capital letter first. Now this one gives us the exact same answer that Mendel got. Okay? All of the offspring are big T, little t. But we have one more step in our project. So we're going to write a GP% chart. And this is just to help us quantify our answers. And this is really simple. I write the letter G, I write the letter P, and I write a percent symbol. And then I make it a big T chart, double T chart. And then I write down everything that's inside the box. So I have big T, little t 4 times. Now my GP% chart, I want to write every single possibility. Because right now they're all the same, but they won't always be. And G stands for genotype. P stands for phenotype. What does that look like? This pea plant, big T, little t, has the dominant form, so it's tall. This one's tall. That one's tall. The last one's tall. How many out of 4 are tall? 1, 2, 3, 4. What percent is that? We said each square was worth 25%. So that's 100% tall. Ta-da! All right. I'm going to do another example. We're going to continue with Mendel and his work here. It's all on the back. So, Gregor Mendel then took those offspring. Those offspring were big T, little t, and he let them self-pollinate. And that is big T, little t. So I wrote the parents. Big T, little t, big T, little t. And I write the parents. That's step number 1. Step number 2, draw a square. Step number 3, make a window. Step number 4, write the first parent on the top. 1 letter per column. Write the second parent on the side. 1 letter per column. Big T, little t, big T, little t. Step number 5, distribute. In this square, I have big T and big T lining up. Now, you can go square by square, or you can just look at 1 letter at a time. So this is an alternate way to do it. So I have big T, and I'm going to just drop it down into each box. I'm ignoring every other letter right now. I'm going to do the same thing here. I have little t, drop it down to each box. But because it's lowercase, and I'm not looking over here right now, I'm going to put it in the second spot, because little t always comes second. That just makes my life easier later. I don't have to erase and change it. So now I'm going to just look across, and I'm going to carry this big T across. So I'm going to put it here, and I'm going to put it here. Now I'm just looking at the bottom. I have little t and a T goes here. So now I have that. Then make a GP% chart. There's no really like wrong place to write this chart as long as you just do it in this order. Write the parents, make the chart, fill it out, write the GP% chart. Now this time I have some different options in here. So I just always write the chart from top, just like I read it. So top left, top right, lower left, lower right, left or right, just like you read. So I have big T, big T. I have big T, little t. I have another big T, little t. And I have little t, little t. Little, little. Big T is a tall pea plant. Big T, little t, also a tall pea plant. Big T, little t, tall, little t, little t. It was short. Doesn't have the tall gene, so it's going to be a short pea plant. 1, 2, 3 out of 4 are tall. 3/4 gives you 75 cents, so this is 75%. And short, 1 out of 4, 25%. And that's exactly what Gregor Mendel got by actually doing the science and growing the plants. And he counted them, hundreds and hundreds of plants. We just did it in a square in less than 5 minutes. Woohoo, science. So we're going to continue with this by practicing. And the cat is laying on the paper, so hold on for 1 second. So you have these practice pages. You can print them out like I did. Okay, so you have practices. Or you can just look at them and write down the squares. So we tried to help you here, and when you see this on a quiz or test, which is coming up next week, you are going to know some of the information. So we're trying to make it a little bit easier since we're not there to like really do this with you. So we have flower color. We say that purple is dominant to white. So without looking at those letters, you would say that I'm going to use the letter P because purple is dominant. Capital P represents purple, lowercase p represents white. And then we gave you the parents right here. Now, in other problems in the future of your life, you might see a homozygous purple father and a homozygous purple mother. So that's what you want to look out for. And I would translate that to be big P, big P, big P, big P. So I'm going to write the parents times big P, big P. Then I'm going to follow everything else. I'm going to draw my square, draw a window. First parent on the top, 1 per line. I'm doing this first page with you. Second parent on the side. Fill out the chart. What color are the parents? The parents are both purple. What colors are the children? All the offspring are the same. So over here it says make a GP% chart. GP%. All of them are big P, big P. So I technically only have to write it one time. Phenotype, excuse me, they're all purple. 100%. Here we have seed color. Yellow is dominant to green. This is the actual seed color. These are actually for pea plants. Like this is a real stuff. Sometimes we make it up. Like I have a great worksheet that I love all about SpongeBob, which we're gonna do. But this is all real stuff. Yellow is dominant, capital Y. Green is recessive, lowercase y. We have homozygous green father and a homozygous green mother. Little y, And again, you want to try and make your letters look different. I have little y. You can even make, like, write it really little so that you separate it from, I would draw my big Y like really big. Okay, we're not using that right now. Put them on here. That's the first one. That's the second one. Whoops, that's the first one. That's the second one on the side. Putting them in the chart. These ones are pretty easy because it's all the same. And GP percent gives us all little y, all green, because green is recessive and they're little, 100%. Practice, practice, practice. Seed shape. Pause the video. Oh. Pause the video. I'm going to hold this here because, again, it gave me that low thing warning and I don't know. And try it and see what you get. What do you get for seed shape? Okay. This is going to be capital, capital, lowercase, lowercase. Dominant. So this dad, okay, this parent. All these parents up here all were green. All the kids were green. This is what's known as purebred green. Here we have a homozygous round parent and a wrinkled parent. This is talking about the seed shape, not actual parents have lots of wrinkles or not. So I put the first parent on the top, second parent on the side. Fill out the chart. Now they're all going to end up being this, which they were, the parents were homozygous, but now the offspring are heterozygous. Heterozygous round. Okay, so GP percent. Now that they're starting to get different or mixed up, you might want to start writing them all out. I highly recommend you always write them all out, especially when you're first starting to do this. When you get to the P and the percent, you can just write 1 or 2 answers, whatever you need, but because they're all the same, but I need to make sure I check all 4 of them, and they're all round, 100%. Now we're going to start doing different stuff. So I'll do this one with you. You're going to do the rest of this page, 5. And the whole back. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as plastic. Okay. And I'm going to be checking it. So we'll talk about that in a second. So pod color. Green is dominant. Yellow is recessive. G, big G, little g, father. So big G, little g. And a big G, mom. So times big G, big G. I'm writing it all out to make sure I do it correctly. And I've been doing it for 17 years, so you need to write it out too. Big G, little g. Big G, big G. So the second parent goes on the side. I'm going to fill out my chart really carefully. And there we go. Then I'm going to write out my GP percent chart. So now the parents, color the parents. This parent is green. This parent is also green. But this one is heterozygous or hybrid, and this one is homozygous or purebred. So my GP percent chart, I have to write all 4 because they're different, but you can kind of group the ones that are the same together. So I see 2 big G, so I'm going to write it twice just so I make sure I do my percentages right. And big G, little g, I see that twice. And these 2 are green. What are these 2? Big and little? Remember, they're also going to have the dominant traits. So it's almost like the little g isn't even there when you see the plant. It's also green. So even though we have these 2 different kind of types, they're all green. So you're going to do number 5, and then you're going to do the whole like other page. There's like another page to your PDF. And it gives you like an example, and then it tells you the parents. But please make sure when you do this, before you start doing anything, write the parents. Write the parents, write the parents, write the parents. If you're handwriting this on a piece of paper instead of trying to use Cami, which you can use, you definitely want to follow my instructions exactly the way I did, so I should just see it written out the way I did here. Here's the parents, here's the chart, here's the GP percent chart, and then that would be done. Like, you don't have to write any words or sentences or anything like that. Just fill out the parents, fill out the chart, make a GP percent chart. And then you can just send me a picture. You can take it with your Chromebook. Just like hold your work up to your Chromebook so I can see all of them. And go into pictures. And just attach that to the document, like to your work. And I can see it. You don't have to email it to me. Attach it to your assignment in classroom, okay? If you need help with that, of course, let me know. All right. So we're practicing Punnett Squares. We're going to practice, practice, practice so that we know what we're doing, okay? Let me know if you have any questions, and have a great day.